Time for a kidThunder VG Reviews episode. Stay tuned and watch the show. Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of kidThunder VG Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at Contra III, The Alien Wars for the original Game Boy. And no, don't get me started with that crappy GBA version called Contra Advance. This game was actually brought to us by Konami, but it was developed by a company who just went defunct, known as Factor 5. Right now I'm going to the options menu and checking our options, and that's pretty much it. Alright, now we're going to talk about the gameplay. For those of you who have played the original game, which was released on the Super NES, this should all seem familiar to you. Nothing but classic run and gun shooting. So, in truth, if you see any enemies that comes along your way, shoot them down. Pack them with like a ton of lead and whatnot. That's how it is in every single Contra game. However, in this game, compared to the SNES original, the levels are cut short, and they also did take out one particular level. It's the bike riding stage from the Super NES version as well. Compared to the SNES original, which you can carry 2 guns, in this version you can only carry 1. With this particular version, there has been some changes with this. Once you get to the overhead stages, for example, unlike the Super NES version, which you can choose your starting point, they place you at a random starting point in this particular game. Fighting the bosses can be a pain in the ass if you're playing this game for the first time, especially if you're playing the Super NES version as well too. They're also a real pain in the ass, but sometimes they can be challenging once you know what you're doing in this game, and you'll pretty much master this game as well once you get better and better fighting all these bosses. Sometimes they can be challenging, but at the same time you better watch out, because if you get cocky, they will kick your ass. Especially the final boss, which is the Red Falcon. That's it. God damn it, one more thing I forgot to mention. If you complete a level, sometimes you get to get this password thing, which is a really short password, and you'll be able to continue where you left off at from that point on. Okay, right now we're going to talk about the graphics and design in this particular game. Well, as far as graphics go by in this game, for a portable console, there's nothing much to complain about as far as graphics go. Just like what AVGN said in his Terminator 2 review, when he reviewed Terminator 2 for the Game Boy. Contra 3 on Game Boy, despite the fact that it's a monochromatic game and whatnot, it's really not much to complain about as far as graphics and whatever it may be go. However, there are some, it is some nice graphics, but there are some points where the graphics did change around. Here's an example. Here's an example right here. Take a look at the Game Boy version, which I am reviewing right now. Look at the first stage. You see those 2 platforms right there? Both of them are obviously standing up straight. And now let's make that comparison to the original game on the Super NES version, which happens to have like one platform that's standing up straight and another one that's kind of sort of leaning over, you know. So that's where they changed around a little bit, but I kind of find that as a minor problem anyways. Another thing about the graphics is that, like, once you're on the overhead levels, there is actually no scale and rotation compared to the original game, which was on the Super NES. But hey, what can I say? You have to take into consideration the limitations of the Game Boy and the capabilities of the Super NES. But either way it goes, it's still a pretty good game and good graphics for it, despite the limitations of the hardware for the Game Boy. Alright folks, let's talk about the presentation aspects of Contra III on Game Boy. While comparing it to the original game on the Super NES, despite its differences, either way it goes, excuse me, Contra 3 on Game Boy is a well-worthy purchase. Not to mention, you know, it may have the graphics of an old school NES game, but not to mention it may even have the controls of an NES of how Contra 3 would actually feel like if it was on an NES machine as well too. So my best bet for you is, like, if you want a portable Contra game on the go, my best bet is that you'll get this game as well as Operation C for Game Boy. As of now, this is kidThunder signing off. Take care everyone, have a great day, and be sure to fend off aliens like this ugly piece of shit alien right there. Watch out for him. Tell that thing to see you later.